Okay, thank you all for joining Each One Teach One. This is the first Each One Teach One of the month where I'm supposed to be spearheading concepts and strategies for mainly stewardship centers in that capacity of the education. So, Lighthouse Stewardship Center capacity. Again, like I said, this one kind of snuck up on me. I would have loved to talk about our last course load with the soap making with Miss Zim, but I just didn't get around to editing the video and making it out. So I'll probably share that next month. But for this month, we do have an initiative that is worthy to be talked about and worthy to be conversed about. So I would like you all to also add in comments, questions on the spot, real time. So don't feel like you need to wait to the end. This is not a presentation like that. This is like a presentation where we can move and it's malleable. So definitely jump in where you see fit. Please keep it concise, but jump in where you see fit. Okay, so what our next strategy is here in Atlanta is in a I want to call it a grant, right? I guess I'm going to call it a grant. It's going to be called Roots, right? Resilient Organic Opportunities for Thriving Systems. And we basically, I put that in Chat GPT, and that's what it crafted for us. And I love it. We do have Roots of Generosity, so it kind of plays on what we already have in motion right now in collaboration with Clayton County Public Schools and just Clayton County in general. So I think this could be a nice little segue into Roots of Generosity. But basically, again, like it's really imperative that we seize the opportunity that we have and we really start to galvanize communities in small areas and really start to show people that we do have um, the opportunity to regain our presence in the food system and regain our sovereignty within the food system. And I think this resilient organic opportunities for thriving systems is going to be able to do just that. So we're going to just get into it. So again, this is going to be something that's executed by Collectively Sustainable. So we are looking to establish 100 food production plots in basically to conduct a social experiment using mutual aid here in Atlanta. Basically, the mutual aid capacity comes in just because it's one of those things where the understanding is that it's moneyless, right? That we are the resource and we are our own saving grace, right? We're our own helping hand. So the mutual aid concept has been kicking around dust. I really haven't bought into it, but the concept is firm and I really like it just because of what it does. I was more so inclined to believe that mutual aid meant you gave something to somebody for free and that was it. But our construct of mutual aid is going to operate a little bit differently. And again, it just means that, the helping hand that we need is at the end of our own sleeves. So what we're looking to do is establish 100 food production plots here in Atlanta that are low cost or no cost. Again, this is a mutual aid concept. It's not meant to be for profit. So I believe we're going to have a wonderful opportunity to just showcase, again, put on Front Street that we are the resource and that we have an opportunity to do something magnificent just in the space and time that we're in as the adults of today. So, what we are intending to do, and again, feel free to jump off mic and just jump in if you have any questions or concerns. What we're trying to do is establish those plots, and those plots are going to be 10 by 10, right? I chose 10 by 10 because one is small enough to go in a small backyard. Two, it's big enough to still support in a supplemental fashion. So the 10 by 10 grids are going to include compost, plant seeds, and the install, the actual labor, right? So the biggest thing that I feel is the most important is actually educating, right? That's what collectively sustainable is. We're educators as well as networkers, but we understand that we cannot do it alone. We have to collaborate. We have to collectively create this food system. And in order to collectively create a food system, we have to get back in touch with the earth. We have to get in rhythm with the land again. And a lot of that has been lost after a couple generations. So again, the biggest thing that we do here at Seals Family Farm is educate by way of hands-on. That's my favorite way to do it because I feel like um, it's the most impactful, right? To be standing there watching me do it is one thing. If I'm digging a hole, you can see how I dig it. But if you got to hold the shovel and dig it yourself, it's another value added to it. And that's been the most impactful way that we've been teaching here at our farm. And again, we ran out of space basically. For a long story short, we ran out of space and I couldn't teach the way I like to teach. So this is going to be impactful because it's going to be able to allow the hands-on opportunity to be accessed again within the spectrums of the community. So again, this 10 by 10 grid is going to be totally free or low cost. And if it's totally free, that means again, all these things include the compost plant, seeds, and install. If it's low cost, that means that they are going to be paying for the compost. For that metric of a 10 by 10, you should be looking at about $400. It's one big yellow bag of soil 3 compost. If y'all are familiar with that, that's what we'll be using. Just so we can kind of make it really structurally um, replicable, right? Soil 3 compost can be shipped nationwide. They do deliveries. So this thing can replicate past Atlanta. So again, that 10 by 10 grid free is going to be basically the compost, the plant seeds, and install the plants and the seeds. Collectively sustainable. If you're a lighthouse or a stewardship center, we will be relying on you to produce seeds, produce the plants themselves, and that can be an internal aspect of literally us giving the money to each other to kind of produce these things. But everything else is going to be free because the installs are going to be an opportunity again for volunteerism. And we've been really forging a lot of relationships with other organizations around Atlanta, Peace in the Wild. We got veterans helping veterans. It's a couple other veteran organizations, then a couple other just people who are just interested in helping people move things. So not move them in a physical way, but move movements. So Black to Earth is one of those as well. So we really have a lot of ties with people who have the bodies and the physicality to assist. So that install aspect is going to be again, is cost shared as an in-kind value in exchange for labor. They're going to be getting the education. If y'all have been immersed in your course load, then you know that that sounds like a bot to a boss, right? That's the same framework that we've been presenting. Hey, go help a farmer, go help a homestead, help a gardener, and you're going to learn in exchange. And that's again, we're just putting it on Front Street. All this stuff is wash and repeat. So that hands-on training and education is definitely important. I think that's the most impactful. So again, our goal is to create 10 small cohorts in the Metro Atlanta area. And just to be precise, we're starting on the South Side, right? We're starting on the South Side. Why? Because we are the stewardship center right now. We're the only stewardship center right now, and we still have enough compost to make it through. So if the first wave of people need to be no cost and not low cost, we can still facilitate in that capacity because we do have the resources, we have the shovels, we have the wheelbarrows. And if I needed to install it myself because nobody was available, I could do it. Right? I don't want to do that, but if that was the case, push come to shove, it can be done. So again, basically, we're kind of galvanizing this unit by way of a lighthouse or a stewardship center, right? So the lighthouse again is somebody who is um, inclined in that capacity of education with stewardship as far as gardening, and they're okay with breaking open the soil. They're okay with knowing how to amend the soil and after compost. They're okay with understanding how to transplant plants from a cup into that soil. That's what we're going to be needing. And that lighthouse or stewardship and or is going to be basically in charge of 5 to 8 plots within their area. So we're not going to go out and just grab people from anywhere. Again, I'm on the south side. We're going to start as far as close as local as possible, right? So hyper locally as possible. So again, we'll probably be in Clayton County with most of these 5 to 8 for me because I'm not going to drive anywhere north of 20. It's just not going to happen. So that's where the other opportunities will come up for other stewardship centers or lighthouses. But for now, again, we're going to be basically putting these lighthouses or stewardship centers as a point of contact for 5 to 8 plots. That could be multiple plots on one land or one per household. But either way, we're looking at 5 to 8 families that are going to join this food production um, um, social experiment is what I've been calling it, right? Because they're in proximity. And again, the participants will focus on 3 crops each and will be encouraged to assist and aid their fellow members within that cohort. So again, as we build these cohorts out, so I'm the stewardship center for the South Side. We're going to select people in the area who are, ready to move forward with food production. They have the space, and I'm going to get into that on the next slide. But I'm going to be their point of contact, and I will be in charge of basically leading the demonstration based initiative. So I'm going to be breaking open the soil. I'm going to be showing them how to do it, and I'm going to do that for a couple iterations. And the main concept of this, again, with that mutual aid in this capacity, is that the people are going to have to actually participate in assisting their cohort as well. So if there's 5 people and I spearhead the first 2, you still have 3 left. And now that cohort has to organize amongst themselves to continue to apply these skills and build the rest of the 3 out. Right. So again, I believe that this is going to be very impactful because one is going to really show that we can create our own food security by way of supplemental food production, right? So we're not saying you're growing everything, but that little 10 by 10 grid should be able to kick out 200 to 300 pounds of food per season. That's spring and fall, right? Spring and fall season, we should be able to kick out that much poundage of food. And it's going to be accentuated by each plot only growing 3 crops, each plot only growing 3 crops. So we have it blended down to where whether you're full sun, partial sun, or full shade, we have a different construct or a network of plants that you can grow for each area of sunlight. So you don't have to be out of it because you're in full shade. We're going to grow mushrooms over there, right? You don't have to be out of it because you have partial. We're going to stick with herbs and lettuces and leafy greens. And if you got full sun, we're going to deal with the peppers and the tomatoes and things like that. So everything will be orchestrated to where we should have a general I guess, variety of each in each cohort. And then they're going to be, again, encouraged, one, to help each other steward their land, break it open, or even assist with watering or fertilizing if they want to go that far. And then two is going to be used as a way for people to see that if we work together, those 3 crops in those 5 families now turn into 15 crops, right? And again, this is just another way to showcase what collectively sustainable physically can look like. So I'm really excited about this. And again, the educator assigned to assist with real-time questions and concerns and best practices will be our lighthouses or stewardship centers. So that education is going to go throughout that growth season, right? So again, as I spearhead and break ground on 2 or 3 of these 10 by 10 plots, they're going to learn from me and then be encouraged to go out to help each other and organize amongst each other. And then as the season continues, they'll have me to as a point of reference to say, hey, this is going on. Hey, I'm getting spots. Hey, my leaves are turning yellow. What do I do? I'll be here to assist. So that way they can continue with confidence. So I'm really excited about that again. Who can participate? What we are looking to do is to galvanize a volunteer group. And I believe this is like, I see this as being like Victory Gardens 2.0, right? Again, we're all in agreement. Like we need to be growing our food. We need to take control of it. We need to take charge of it, and we have to be assertive. Volunteers are going to be needed because, again, this is a low cost or no cost initiative. The biggest cost within installations is the labor, right? The supplies and materials don't necessarily cost that much, but to get somebody to haul all that dirt in and to double dig and to till the land is it is what it is. And if we want to get around that, either A, we're going to be doing it, which I don't mind, but I would rather teach somebody to do it as well. So again, that bot to a boss concept comes in. Volunteers are going to be needed. And again, if you have a community or you know people out there who are looking for opportunities to buy in, I think this is going to be a wonderful opportunity to kind of wave them into the community so they can see what we're doing and how we operate. Um, Homeowners obviously is a must. We need the green space. That's the biggest barrier for most people, especially in this economy. A lot of people can't buy land. A lot of young folks who are really trying to adopt the sustainability lifestyle, trying to adopt the simplicity of just living with the land and living in co-creation, they don't really have an opportunity because right now you have corporations buying up all the homes, and then homes are literally double what they were 7 years ago. So it's really not beneficial for anybody to be a homeowner right now. So we have to really go at what we have, and that's the best resource, is the one that's already existing. So we're looking for homeowners that have that 10 by 10, again, that small 10 by 10, which is an honest area to offer to the community. So they can be offering it as, hey, I want to be a part of it and I want to benefit from it, or hey, I just have land and I got an acre and I don't do anything with backyard, and y'all can have 5 of those plots back here, right? So they can be incorporated into the movement in that capacity. And lastly, the training facilitators. Again, lighthouses and stewardship centers are going to be the main ones that spearhead this. The more lighthouses and stewardship centers we have, the better we are because we can disperse the weight load, right? We can start growing out in Decula. We can be in North Georgia. It doesn't have to be South. We're just starting on the South side because I'm here. But again, this is another way to pull in people, as a way to assist in the movement. Gardeners you see on social media, farmers you see on social media, homesteaders that have decent, best practices that you kind of can vet visually. You got to kind of fill them out. Well, I'm not going to say you got to fill them out, but the people that you've already felt out in your social media partakings, and you feel like they're honest, they're genuine, and they really do it, invite them in. Invite them in. This is again our way for our marketers. So again, I'm hoping y'all see this. All of it kind of goes back to what we've been doing. So it's still an opportunity for our marketers to say, "Hey, I see what you're doing. Come on over here. We got this grassroots movement, and we have this social experiment we got going on where we're trying to, get as many people growing as possible." And I think that would be enough to bring people in. And again, I see it. I have the asterisk beside it. Must complete required verification. That's really serious because again, we can't just allow anybody to come in, because I don't know if y'all have that experience, but I know we have, folks faking it till they make it, and they'll tell you anything, as bold as they can to get you to come in. But then when you get there, you're like, man, you don't really be doing this stuff because ain't no way, right? So we want them to complete the same verification process that we had to complete, right? And collectively sustainable. So that's like our quality control measurement system. So as we're inviting people in, they still have to go through the process. They still have to go through, kind of all the steps to kind of be immersed in the community, in our culture of what we're building. So again, that leads us into the requirements. Again, they must be a member, right? And that's, again, it's not really a soft ploy to get membership, but it's really just like one of those things where if we can show up uniformed, in line, in step, it's more powerful. And if we all say we're a part of this same organization, y'all know where I'm going, right? We really have to be intentional about our next steps and really like pave the way. So that's the number one. They must be a member of Collectively Sustainable, whether they're the person with the yard and saying, hey, I can offer my space, whether they're the person who says, hey, I just want to learn, I want to volunteer, um, just give me a shovel, I'm going to go, or they're the person who's saying, "Hey, I can teach." They all have to be members of Collectively Sustainable, just again to be at least not immersed into the culture, but at least to kind of understand, right? Because you got to take the authentic dialogue class. You got to come in and find your way in the community, which of the 4 paths you're going to follow. So this is a way for them to kind of honestly buy into the concept full heartedly. Second, we're going to have an application on a Google form that they're going to fill out. It's going to kind of just basically be basic things. But that application is going to also offer people who have the capacity to pay for the service, to pay for it outright. So a 10 by 10 grid, that is going to basically have 60 square feet of growing zone, is going to be about $1,200. right? And I know that sounds like a lot, but 1,200 for the row to be broken open, the compost, all the plants, and the continual education throughout that growth season. So add that all in, and that's a wonderful value. And I've been doing that for years. That's a wonderful value. So the application is going to basically open it up for people who can pay, who can only pay for maybe just the compost, and then those folks who can't pay at all. So if you're up at the top and you do have the means to pay, what you're going to do is pay full price, and then that chunk of money is going to be distributed to the folks who can't pay at all, and that's how we're going to sustain this thing. But again, that middle capacity, if it's somebody who says, "Hey, I can't pay the 12, but I don't need it for free. I can do the 400 and just buy the dirt. I'm gonna literally get on the phone and buy the dirt myself. They're gonna drop. So no money has to come to our hands. So it's no fishy business, right? That's kind of what I want to do. So again, the person even with the 1250, they're not going to pay us directly. They're going to order their own soil. Then they're going to order another bag to a home that's already dictated as somebody who's coming in for no cost. So again, it's a way for us to keep our money, or excuse me, the money out of our hands. That's a tax thing for me. And then two, it's just a way to be transparent. So when people come in, they really say like, "Oh no, they did it. They did it, and I didn't even. I had to pay for this, or I knew where I got the receipt. I can call the company and see what's going on with the shipment." So that's a beautiful way as well. So the application is going to kind of give us that opportunity to allow people to buy in, and just really support somebody else and pay it forward. And then the last thing is really my quality control and my cornerstone of community, which is reciprocity, right? And to be sustainable is to be reciprocal in value, or add equal to or greater than the value, but you can't take away and not add in what you took away. We ain't playing that. So I ran this last year, and I'm gonna just give y'all a little sidebar story before I close this thing out and open it up for questions. We did free garden bed installs last year, and I was blown away by how many people responded to the freeness. And I get it. I guess maybe it was naive of me, but it was folks I had never seen before in my life, folks who never interacted with the account, folks, grandmamas and mamas was hitting me up, aunties, right? So I really got it, like my spidey senses was going off, and I didn't like it. I'm not that type of guy, right? I'm not. Anyway, I quickly retracted, resent my invitation for free garden beds, and I reconfigured it and said, okay, if you want a free garden bed, you have to come to 3 installs before you can be, oh Lord, my battery about to die. Before you can be able to access the benefit of the free garden bed, you have to come to 3. So basically, long story short, y'all, we reconvened and reconfigured it and shot it again. Only one person showed up, and I was completely blown away, but I was happy because I didn't toss all my resources to somebody who wasn't even willing to do it for somebody else. And that's just one of them things. I'm gonna keep it transparent. I'm big on that. So the last third marker of the requirements is that anybody who comes in and gets the garden bed has to be able to go in again within that cohort and assist other people, at least 3 installs themselves. That again is going to be a way for us to make sure that the labor is accounted for. And then that underlying subliminal concept is you get to be in proximity to people who share the same skill, hobby, or interest. And then hopefully through that work, you're going to have a natural exchange of stories, laughs, whatever, and it's going to bring you closer together, right? And so that's the whole goal. It's really cut and dry. It's really simple. We tried it out. I did my neighbor's yard already, a 10 by 10 grid. We got him growing. He actually tilled the yard himself. His name is Mr. Jerry. He's 65 years old. He did it himself in about 2 hours. He rented the tiller from Home Depot and did it himself. He didn't want me to do it. So I was really just testing how that felt as far as the capacity of one person having to do it. And what we're trying to do is really break off in groups of at least two, right? So maybe 2 lighthouses or 2 steward, whatever it is, but we want to buddy up, right, in these hyper local arenas, and kind of be 2 stewardship centers that go and kind of complete the deal as far as training. So again, that's basically it. That's what I have for today. Is just basically this roots concept brought out in full form. I would like to know what you all think about it. What kind of pivots you think we should make, or what kind of things that we should be looking out for just in case.
I have a question
Uh-huh.
regarding the 10 by 10s. Let's say, is there anything written in, as far as, and I like the idea of a buddy system, right? Because it's one thing to get the garden going, another thing is maintenance. Is there
Hmm.
anything or a way to help those that buddy up to come up with systems of maintenance so that it doesn't just get left with the one person? Or what do you think about that as far as responsibility for the thing that you started together?
Yes, thank you. That's a wonderful question. So my main thing is again, empowering the people to understand that the hand that they need is at the end of their own sleeves. Like we can go in and do the work initially. Okay, cool. But yes, you are going to have to maintain these things yourselves. And again, that's when the stewardship center or the lighthouse can be the one that say, this is also a thing. We're going to have an actual schedule for watering, fertilizing the whole. It's going to be an AI concept, right? This is Matori AI that she's working on this stuff now, and we're going to have an AI implement so that way those cohorts can be kind of reminded on when to fertilize, best practices, or when to water, the whole nine. But again, it's still going to take that stickiness of a community. And that's again what we're pitching. We're not pitching that we're going to hold your hand all the way through. We're not going to come to y'all, but y'all should be coming to each other's houses. So it's going to be very much based on that small hyper locality, and then the people being vetted and kind of interviewed through those proceeds to kind of figure out that they are really wanting to do this for the right reasons and not just to get a free garden bed. So those three installs should weed out people who ain't serious about it, and that authentic dialogue should really, kind of galvanize that community in and of itself to where they can be their own aide. Anybody else have anything? Thank you for that, Ms. Bernice. Anybody else? Any feedback? Any questions? Any criticisms? What
Sounds
else do
good to
y'all
me.
see?
It sounds good to me.
Who is that? CC? Okay, I
Yeah.
recognize that one. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. And just to throw this in there, Cece is going to be the first one. She's going to be our prototype. So I am putting it out there here soon. I'm been horrible about putting information out, but I'm gonna get better. But we're gonna put that out soon. We're gonna try to do that this Sunday, I believe. Did we say a date, Cece?
Yeah, the 6th. We didn't
The
say a
6th.
time, but we said a day.
Okay, so the 6th. So as of now, the 6th is the date. And again, I feel confident because it's a 10 by 10. It's not that difficult. And even if nobody came, I got CC there and it's me. And we can knock that out no problem. So again, this is very much like one of those things where if we remove money as the objective, we have all the resources, right? We have all the resources. And again, we're starting on the south side because I literally have the resources. I got pepper plants, tomato plants, and compost. So anybody on the south side is going to be able to get it, and we're going to pull up on them with the most haste and document. Documentation is critical right now because again, we just have to show the movement moving. So I think this is going to be a wonderful opportunity for people in other states to replicate. So that's why I chose Soil 3. That's why I chose these garden builds, these 10 by 10 grids, because other places are not as rural as Georgia. So they might have smaller condensed areas. So it should be able to fit almost anywhere. And I'm hoping for that to be replicated really seamlessly.
Oh,
Anybody else?
well,
Miss Bernice?
I'm willing to help when I get back. And I mean, I'll be in Miami for 3 weeks. If there's somebody in this area that needs help and is willing to pick me up because I'm not driving while I'm here, I could throw some hands in there as well. And a question that I have as well, because you mentioned seeds, I have seeds that I've saved. I've been checking them periodically to see if they're still, able to grow. Is that something that we can also offer to those, or do we have enough seeds?
No, absolutely. That's definitely something to offer, as well as something to consider is like we like for us in Atlanta, my point of contact is Jasmine of Healing Hipster. So she's about to be in the next wave of stewardship centers, but Jasmine grow her ass off. And Jasmine has opted in the position and the responsibility of the seed starter. So we might need more seed starters. I think the biggest thing is having transplants instead of seeds, because it's harder to start from seed. If we can do transplants, that's preferable. And if you know how to grow and you have extra stuff, I mean, it's not going to be anything that's specified as far as variant. It could just be tomatoes, indeterminate. So any kind, right? It could be peppers, any kind, leafy greens, any kind, so mushrooms, any kind. So we're not going to get into specificity. Uh, so that is again a way for us to add in value as growers ourselves. If we have extra plants, we can donate to a cohort, right? So that's going to be one thing that we can add in as well. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. 6:10. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. That was 40 minutes, man. I did good. I really pulled this one out the wazoo. I didn't really pull it out the wazoo, but the spirit just led me. I promise y'all. I really looked at the time at 3 o'clock and was like, oh snap, I gotta present tonight. What am I gonna do? Bing! I already had this slideshow ready because this is our next echelon of where we're going. Go ahead, Tennessee.
Good day. I
What's
caught the
happening?
tail end. Apologies on that.
No,
I
you good.
but when you were explaining the third part where it was the three what flower bed installs or garden bed installs, I
Hmm.
was thinking um that there might be like a need for a just answering the question before some people think it, because if transportation is an issue for some, if or if some people don't feel comfortable um doing it alone, maybe like saying, hey, you can pair up, you can bring a buddy with you, um, or you can just contribute your knowledge that you learn. You don't have to bend down low if you know you are elderly or whatever have you, that sort of thing. But I love the idea in that it really begins to it vets who is serious about really creating the sustainable garden in that way. I was just thinking for those that don't necessarily feel ready to do that by themselves due to external factors or body limitations. I was thinking of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for right now, the body limitations is one thing, um, because I think we just have to be, I mean, able-bodied is a thing, right? To till up the land and to do all those things is able-bodied. Like we need able-bodied people to be the workforce. But the recipients don't necessarily have to be a part of that workforce if we get it to be robust as we need, right? And I'm really not planning to be out there alone. I definitely see where you're going. Like, go ahead and forecast that, like, hey, bring a friend. Um, but I think also like we do have some things nailed out in Atlanta here already with our roots of generosity. So this roots concept is really part and parcel of a bigger construct. And we already have some things going on with seniors to seniors. Roots of generosity is seniors from the high schools around here that we already been kind of have meeting with at our farm. And we're meeting with the leadership in the school system. And we're going to have them actually doing the same thing for the elders, right? So that's going to be a dope way to interconnect that generational gap. That's kind of what we're doing. Yeah, it's going to be dope. It's going to be dope. So we already started rolling that ball this year. So this next school year, we're going to really have faculty to assist and really have people coming in. But I do believe that that is something notable to just let people know, hey, bring a friend, especially if you're a volunteer. Yeah, bring your friend. Have them join the community, have them learn about authentic dialogue. Because again, these things are really meant to be immersive ways to understand our culture going forward, right? We want to really
Right.
bring people into the space of nonviolent conflict, right? Nonviolent communication, excuse me,
Mm.
and really understanding that for me personally, and I don't know, y'all can chime in, I've learned the most about people that I'm close to while in situations where we have to work, where we have to put in
Yes.
sweat equity. And I just believe that that's the best way forward. And again, for those who cannot do it, then that we're going to definitely set that to the side. And once we create that robust boots on the ground framework, then we won't need everybody to be there, but we just still need some kind of add in, some buy in, and some capacity. And that's where, again, collectively sustainable offers those four pathways. So you don't just have to be boots on the ground handling the labor. You can be boots on the ground handling admin. You can be boots on the ground handling marketing, right? So it's a lot of different ways for people to come in and kind of add value. So we'll just, kind of play with it as it's an emergent strategy.
I dig it.
So
Thank you.
I've got a, oh, sorry
Yes,
to
ma'am.
interrupt you. So
No,
I've
no, no.
got a
You.
question, kind of segueing from Miss Bernice's question about seeds and starters and such. One would be, um, excuse the background here. Would y'all, would you all post like, okay, we're going to be doing this cohort or the roots, installing the 10 by 10 on this day at this location? Would that be published so that one knows that this is coming up? Because, like, of course, we all got busy schedules, and I have a packed calendar, and sometimes I may be available or can make myself available if I know that something is coming up. Would that be published on Heartbeat?
Absolutely. And again, that's kind of
Mhm.
my I'm not gonna say downfall at all. That's my hurdle right now. That's the thing I need the most assistance with is the communication, right? And just being
Okay.
more open and available with schedules. But the
Okay.
intention is to definitely post it in
Mhm.
Heartbeat. So everybody has to come in through Heartbeat anyway. So what I'm
Mhm.
planning to do is create the cohorts within Heartbeat. So that's just through a messaging
Okay.
system. So you create a
Okay.
group chat and here are all the cohorts. And when they're ready, the soil 3 is dropped off and all those things, they can organize amongst themselves, but the lighthouse that's attached to them is the one. If they need the help and they need the assistance, then they can put it out there. But for the most part, I'm going to keep these things zipped up through Heartbeat. I'm not going to really post them
Mhm.
outside because of respect for people's homes. And again, we're
Mhm.
bringing culture to this. So we're not just trying to get anybody. We're trying to get the people who are serious about growing for some significant reason of sustainability. And then we're looking for us to introduce our culture and kind of
Mhm.
wiggle it in there to where they can see. Yes, we will be making sure that, especially if you're on the south side, 9 times out of 10, Miss Mildred, you probably gonna know about it because you're gonna probably be in the group that's on the south side, and you can just add in
Mhm.
where
Yeah. Now, and then the next question I have, because I tend to start things. I know you mentioned you have someone, you got your plug for your seed starters and such, but I tend to start little stuff too for upcoming seasons. And if it's something different than what one is growing, um, if there if that's something that can be offered, or if I have whatever, if there's a way I can whenever you have this, hey, I've got this started, would y'all like some of this? If that's something that can be done, or because I know you got your plug for your starters, but just in case there may be something different that I can offer, because I do want to be able to offer something.
absolutely. I think the best way forward is going to be to be really considerate of being at least on I'm going to say on brand for lack of better expression.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So like let's say if we're doing peppers and tomatoes and somebody says, hey, well, I got a lot of cantaloupe. Do y'all want these or a lot of watermelon? We can post it on Farm Fresh 24/7, but for
Gotcha.
that 10 by 10, we're going to stick to that rubric so that the
Mm-hmm.
lighthouse, because we're not going to try to make people master gardeners, right? We're just saying
Gotcha.
if you know how to grow a couple things, you can be a lighthouse because you can possibly
Mhm.
educate these folks who don't know anything on how to grow these three crops. So, with that
Okay.
being said, I think the most natural kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Man, what is it called? Evolution. The natural
Mhm.
evolution of the construct is going to be that yes, they're going to get this 10 by 10 grid installed, but the whole thing is you're supposed to be inspired enough to do it for yourself. So you might end up
Oh,
with
gotcha.
two more patches, and now those extra things can come in and you can say, okay, I'm gonna grow these over here. But yeah,
Mhm.
we're gonna keep it really plain for the 10 by 10.
Okay, gotcha.
But then in that same capacity, I'm going to list the plants. So if
Mhm.
you then want to support in that capacity, you can then just grow some of the things that you know we're going to need. And that I
Mhm.
think that's going to be another viable way for other people who are in the community to add value. Again, like Tessie was saying, maybe you don't have the capacity to do all the labor. Maybe you don't even have the time, but
Mhm.
you might have the time and capacity to start seeds for the next people
Mhm.
coming up. And that's very
Yeah.
much necessary.
Okay. So that's cool because I typically kind of start ahead of season, like end of this month, early August. I'm gonna be starting my fall stuff, and so I tend to have access and tend to kind of give plants away, and we'll have
Mhm.
extra to give. So that's why I
Absolutely.
wanted to know because if it's a way I can contribute, I don't mind.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you for even making
Mhm.
that plain because I think that's something that I need to be able to orate or at least put on Front Street so people know how to add in without being the laborious aspect of the movement. So thank you again. Miss Bernice, you had something?
I did. Does anybody do we have I guess for me a guide of when to plant certain things so that if we are wanting to help out as far as the starting seed starter part, we'll know when it's okay to plant. Uh, I'm asking, just being in a different climate than what I was used to, being able to grow all year in Florida to compare to when it gets cold and not. I
Correct.
might be growing something that's out of season. It's like that's not going to work right now because of weather conditions. Do we have something like that?
So that would be where the lighthouses show up. So again, it's going to just be because there's so many different zones, so many different fluctuations, even microclimates. That's where the lighthouses are going to be our subject matter experts, if you will. And that's where, again, just being really broad, peppers, tomato, that's really broad. So it's like if you're going zone by zone, it's typically the same. That's just your calendar or your almanac, any of those things that are readily available on Google. I think we'll just kind of specify the actual plant and then we'll have it listed. But it might change per your zone. So you have to look in what zone you are to start your tomatoes or whatever. But I think that'll be that's about the extent that we'll get into the specificity. And then from there, that's where your lighthouse or your stewardship center is supposed to take over. They're supposed to be the ones that say, hey, yeah, can somebody grow for me? I need about, 20 peppers and this many tomatoes and da 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 da. And we'll kind of create that, internal communication in that capacity.
Okay.
In theory, y'all. We haven't tried it out yet. The groups are very new to me. I started the group. I think CC was the only one who responded. So I think Heartbeat again is a wonderful tool, wonderful resource. We just have to get used to using it and getting used to being on there. And I think it's just people waiting for something significant to happen where they are drawn to it. So I think again, if people are really locked into assisting, they'll be more intentional about being on the app and checking their messages and things like that. So, that cool? Everybody clear? Any other questions or critiques or ideas around this that we need to kind of hash out? I think we got a couple. Well, we got 7 minutes if we want to hash it out in 7 minutes. But other than that, it looks like everybody's clear. Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all joining again for this Each One Teach One. I shot it from the hip. I think I hit the target out I blew it out the water. So I appreciate y'all again being present and just lending your ears and lending your voice and lending your energy, man. I think we're at a time to where we cannot fumble this opportunity. They say you get a once in a lifetime. Yeah, but I always say, how many times you get a once in a lifetime opportunity, man? Right? This is our once in a lifetime opportunity. This is our time to really galvanize some kind of workforce centered around agriculture, and then furthermore centered around community. And I think this is just what the doctor ordered. And I'm really excited about getting this thing underway. So I ain't gonna hold y'all anymore, man. I appreciate y'all again, and I'll see y'all maybe on Friday if y'all on TikTok. If not, I'll see you at that Monday meeting. Yeah, Monday. Oh, Sunjata. We got the how we get free Sundays, so I should see y'all on Sunday. But all right, y'all, be easy. Appreciate you.